Welcome to another episode of Curtain Call Conversations. I'm here today with Beth Lilly, who will be starring once again in London's smash hit comedy Cockfosters, which will be at the Turbine Theatre at Battersea Power Station from the 13th to the 31st of August. How are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. I mean, I did just off air tell you the story that I lay in dog poo earlier, but let's move on, shall
Yeah,
we?
exactly. I mean, what a start to a conversation. I love it.
Yeah,
Things can
yeah.
only
I have
get better
showers.
from
I
there.
have showers.
Yeah,
Was traumatic.
absolutely. Maybe it could be a good luck thing. You never know.
Yeah, like birds. Yeah, I'll look it up.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
exactly. So let's talk about this show. It sounds brilliant. So this is not the first time you've appeared in the show.
No.
So let us know what it's all about.
Yeah, so I first appeared in it in January. We did a run at the same theatre in Battersea, and it sold out, which was
Yeah.
amazing. Like it's not often I've been in a show that sold out before, so that was a really cool. Like loads of my mates didn't actually get to see it, so it's
Oh,
quite nice
wow.
to be
Yeah.
getting another opportunity. But yeah, and then that wasn't the first time the gang who created it did it. They actually did it, I think. I don't know the exact dates because I wasn't a part of it then, but I think last year sometime
Mhm.
they did a shorter run as well. So it's sort of developing and it's changing. So the version this time is a bit different to last time as well. And but yeah, it's just about the tube really.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do say, "Oh, is it in Cockfosters?" And I'm like, "No, it's in Battersea." And they're like, "That's really confusing." But it's about a journey on the Piccadilly line, which obviously does, terminate in Cockfosters if anyone knows the Piccadilly line well.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's just kind of the characters that you might meet on the
Okay.
tube, which again, if you've ever been to London or you live in London, you probably can relate to at least some, if not all of them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a visitor to London, so I have used the tube lots of times. So I can only
Mhm.
imagine the types of characters that you've got in this show. So tell us about your character. Who do you play?
So I play Tori, and she is one of two characters that are kind of I suppose they're with you throughout the whole journey.
Mhm.
I don't multi-role, which
Okay.
is actually unusual for me. I'm usually I'm usually in shows where I'm doing lots of different characters, so it is quite
Yeah.
nice to do something a bit different. So yeah, myself and then another character, James, we are on the tube for the whole duration of the show.
Mhm.
Um, and it's straight through. There's no interval or anything. And I think it might be slightly different, but I think it's only an hour. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like um, yeah, it's one of those shows which you kind of hopefully you start the journey with these characters, Tori and James, and then you kind of go on the whole journey with them in that hour. Um, and yeah, so she's just got back from traveling in Mexico. She's trying to find the answers to how to be a human adult.
Okay.
She hasn't worked it out. And she's kind of, it's just this meeting of two characters. James is also having a bit of a life meltdown, a bit of a crisis, and it's kind of just a nice yeah, seeing how those two characters respond to each other and then to the world, like bonkers
Mm.
world of London. Because the things that you do see on the tube
Yeah.
uh, can be really quite like everyone's got a story, haven't they?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I think what Hamish and Tom, the writers, have done is kind of like, and they, like I say, they are building on it all the time with more
Mm.
things that have happened or different stories. And um, but yeah, hopefully Tori and James kind of keep the audience a bit sort of secure. You're following them.
Right.
Otherwise,
Okay.
you might get a bit like, ah, there's so many characters. So yeah,
Yeah,
we're
so it's
kind
their
of
story. Yeah, yeah.
it's their
So,
story, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So as
Mhm.
this is a musical, what sort of style of music can we expect from the show?
Well, so to be honest, I suppose it is a musical because it has two songs in it, but it
Okay.
is, I would actually probably say it's not, I wouldn't class it as a musical, but then
Okay.
maybe that's just I mean, like personally, I don't sing in it or anything like that. So
Oh,
there's
okay.
But there is the song has changed, and actually we're yet to kind of learn the new song, because we were doing a different song in the last one. Basically, you've got the busker who gets on the tube, and there's a really fun song about the tube, and it's kind of, yeah, all just like on a guitar, busker. He's called Tubey Tony. And he basically has this storyline that he just travels around on the tubes, singing about the tube.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's that song. And then you've got a group of a Hindu party that get on the tube. And so obviously they're very raucous. And then that's the song that's changed this time. So we've got a new song to learn about that. But as far as I'm aware, it's about getting drunk, which would make sense for the Hindu.
Yes,
but yeah,
absolutely.
It's kind of, it's less of it's not like a classic musical or anything like that. It's more of a kind of a surreal comedy with comical songs within it. If that makes
Yeah, it sounds brilliant. I mean, so comedy for you, this is not sort of, your first rodeo with comedy. You were in The Play That Goes Wrong, which I think has to be, one of the best comedic sort of theatre pieces that there is. I mean, it's just brilliant. So tell us about your time on that show.
Yeah, I mean, I love it as well.
Yeah.
I think I first saw it in 2013 when I just graduated, and I was like, oh, I want to be in that. So, I mean, it was quite a long journey. Like like it often is with acting, you kind of have to quite often really like audition lots of times or write to people a lot. Be like, see me. But I understudied in the show in the West End years and years ago, 2017 to 2018. And then it was 2022 that I played Annie on UK tour, which was so great. But I also had an amazing experience during 2021 when we had another surge of COVID, and obviously the shows were still trying to get through, and most shows were managing it, but there was a lot of cast being off and so they kind of called on people that had covered in the past. So I ended up going on a lot of times throughout then, and I wasn't even in the company at the time. I was at work one day teaching, and I got a phone call like, can you come in and do it? And I was like, oh my word, I haven't done that part in years. And I was like, but I can't turn that opportunity down. So it was amazing. I mean, I had the best time doing it, but it was a good kind of challenge to be like, oh wow, if you can do that, other shows shouldn't be too scary because
I mean, that's it's a full-on show, isn't it? I mean, the physicality in it for one. I mean, you must all be completely knackered after every show, because it's just non-stop, isn't it?
It is knackering. And actually I in Cockfosters, I look at the actors that are doing the multi-rolling, and they're all like sweating. And because I just play Tori and she just sits on the tube for an hour. Like, I'm fine. I'm like, oh, I'm not getting a workout here. I'm just like chilling. Play That Goes Wrong, you get very you learn how to sort of pace yourself in the right way with it, because it is intense. But doing those physical fights and stuff like that like kind of out of the blue, 1 minute teaching at Stagecoach, the next minute doing like a half an hour fight call and trying to remind myself how to do it. But as anyone that lost work during COVID will know, you just was so happy to be able to get to do it. That I didn't really, the fear just didn't even, I was like, I'll just do it.
Just do it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't turn it down. Yeah, exactly. So you mentioned you toured with the show. So how do you feel about touring? Do you enjoy it?
Such a good question, that, because it's such a big part of the industry, isn't it? And that is the only tour I've been on. I think I've done much smaller scale ones, where it's 2 weeks or you're away from home, but you're in one place. So in a theatre, but I really enjoyed it. I mean, one of the girls that I live with now, I met on that tour.
Nice.
Made amazing friends. You get really close with people because you're traveling together. And the best thing about it, I think, is getting to go to different theatres.
Yeah.
And the experience of the different audiences is really is something you don't get if you're just staying in one place.
Yeah.
But it is something you have to sort of like adapt a bit to. You've got like your suitcase, and you miss that. There's nothing like your own bed, is there, and a nice,
No.
your cup of tea and your favorite mug.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is that side to it. But no, I would say I enjoy it, and I had to really I would put a lot of pressure. I love making sure I like kind of see things. So
Yeah.
I'd get to a city and go, right, what are the things I should do in
Yeah.
Sheffield or whatever?
Yeah.
And then I would like be exhausted because, as you say, we were
Yeah.
we were doing 8 shows
Yeah. Yeah.
and traveling and living out of a bag. But I'm also trying to make sure I go to the museum that someone told me I have to go to. And like,
Yeah.
I think I had a really good tip from a friend who's toured a lot, and he was like, just, let yourself just have one thing in each place, maybe even if it's a cafe that someone said is nice. And if you make it that cafe, then it's fine. Everything else, you're working, you're not on holiday.
Well, yeah, I suppose there is that into it. But as you say, you get to see so many different places that perhaps you would never go to. So you have to kind of make the most of it, don't you?
Yeah, it's trying to get the
Yeah.
balance right, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So where did performing start for you, Beth? I mean, was it always been sort of within you as a child and then it's just blossomed into a career?
Yeah, I'm that classic story of somebody where I don't know where it came from. I just wanted to do it from
Right.
a really, really young age.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was no, my parents weren't in the industry. Like my sisters aren't really that bothered about it.
Right.
But for some reason, I don't know if it's because I'm a middle child, there was like some attention seeking there, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just knew that it's just what I wanted to do. I just didn't have any other. I
Mm,
was so one track mind with it. I think as I've got older and the industry, obviously you learn about how hard it is to maintain, and
mm,
all of that stuff. I think I've got more of an open mind now
yeah.
to be an actor. You actually probably do need to be open to doing other things.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it's really difficult unless
Yeah.
you're somebody that's just done really, really well or is really lucky.
Mm,
Most of us do have to have other jobs.
yeah.
And I think again, obviously when you're younger, you don't realize that. But
Mm,
for me now, I think, yeah, I just love if I get to do it, I'm absolutely over the moon. Um, but at the same time, it's not. I used to be so one track mind about it, and
yeah.
now I'm like, you know, there's lots to life, and
Yeah.
when you're working, there's lots of other cool things you can be doing as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
so I do find that's quite important actually now in
Yeah.
terms to keep yourself
Yeah.
balanced.
Yeah.
Because
Totally.
otherwise, yeah, you'd just feel rubbish all the time because you'd be like,
Mm,
there's not, you're not working consistently unless you're really lucky. So,
yeah.
um, yeah.
Absolutely. So you mentioned a little bit earlier there that you did some teaching at Stagecoach. Do you still do that?
Yeah. I don't at the moment.
Oh.
But I worked at a lovely stagecoach with such supportive, it's Blackheath and Greenwich, and the head teachers, they're called Kirsty and Chris, and they just are so supportive of all their teachers. So pretty much everyone that works there is a performer.
Mm.
And every time I got a job, they were so supportive. Like they came and saw me in the play that goes wrong, and
Oh,
they would always try and make it work so that you can go back.
sure.
Um, but I was there for 5 years and things just kind of moved on. But
Mm.
I'm so grateful to employers like that really make the life of a working actor much easier. And
Yeah.
you don't feel like you're letting people down all the time because they
Mm.
really respect and support what you're doing, and want their teachers to do well because it's
Yeah.
good for the school. And
Mm.
um whereas obviously sometimes, again, as an actor, you do find people don't understand what having an actor working for them is going to then mean, but they want
Mm.
actors to work for them
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because
Well, yeah,
actors
exactly.
are good at whatever
Yeah.
the job is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just lovely to have employers like that.
Mm.
but yeah, I'm not there at the moment, but I would
No.
love to go back, actually. It's lovely there.
Yeah, so it is a great, stepping stone if that's what you want to go into. I
Mm.
mean, my daughter went for a few years local to me to a
Oh,
stagecoach as well, and it
yeah.
was just really lovely, just to go and watch the shows, and the kids are also sort of passionate about it, and it's just so lovely to build the confidence, if nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, I went to Stagecoach,
Yeah, did
so
you? Oh,
because I basically was like, again, from like a village where there wasn't really anything like this, and my parents were like, "Where has this come from? This like this need for her. She's so desperate to go and do some acting." And so I think my mum like found it in a newspaper or something, the
oh, okay.
Stagecoach. So I
Yeah.
went, but I yeah, I just was like desperate to do anything that I could
Mm.
that was like that. But working there was then really nice as well, because it's not just about kids that, and there are quite a lot of kids that want to, pursue acting, which is amazing, but the kids that also are just there because they want to like have a bit of a, something like dancing on a Saturday is
Yeah.
what they want to do, or just building their confidence, or having different friends to the friends they have at school,
Yeah,
because maybe they feel a bit put into a box at school. Like it's just, and it is, you're right, it's so good for confidence. I've
it
seen
is.
that kind of happen with
Yeah.
children. It's
No,
really nice to see that.
yeah, it is a lovely thing for them to do. So
Mm.
going back to Cockfosters then, as I mentioned, it's at the
Yeah.
Turbine Theatre, 13th to the 31st of August. I'll pop on the next slide where people can get their tickets from. So let's sell it, shall we? Why should people
Yeah.
come and see the show?
Oh, well, we'd love to have you. I mean, firstly, if you've never been to Battersea or Battersea Power Station as an area, it's worth it just for that. I mean, the show is good
Mm.
as well, but the area, so you can make a really nice little sort of date night of it,
Yeah.
or a day of it, because it's a really nice area, especially in summer, because you're right by the river. You've got Battersea Park, you've got loads of like lovely cafes and restaurants and stuff. So it's a really nice area. The theatre is very cool as well, because it's underneath the railway,
Mm.
which in a lot of shows would be an issue because of the noise, but actually
Yeah.
it's ideal for this one.
Yeah, a bit of
Um,
free sound for you.
yeah. It's like I say, it's a really nice, swift show as well, which personally I love going and seeing shows that are, not too long, because
Me too.
then you've still got time to get the train home after, like,
Yep.
you've got time to maybe go for a drink after, or like it's just I enjoy shows like that. So that's
Yeah.
another thing.
Yeah.
But also the main thing, obviously, is that it's hopefully just a proper good laugh.
Yep.
And you definitely should see characters and situations that are very relatable. And the funny thing is that probably to get to the show, you will go on the tube.
Yeah.
So it's just going to feel like, you're a reflection of your travel. But
Yeah.
yeah, you've got lots of kind of silly characters, hopefully a bit of a laugh. And there is a little bit, there's a little bit of a romantic storyline as well. So it's hopefully just a really nice evening out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not trying to make some big point.
Mm.
It's just a good fun thing to do,
Yeah.
basically.
It sounds brilliant. So let me wish you and the rest of the cast all the best with it. I hope it really goes well. And
Thanks.
then, as I say, I will put a comment on the next slide where people can get their tickets from and come and visit. So
Yes,
thanks
please
for having
do.
a chat today. It's been really lovely. Lovely
No,
chatting
thank
with
you for
you.
talking to me. You too.
Oh, no problem. And good luck with it all.
Thank you. Thanks
All
very much.
right. Take care, Beth.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.